Good evening. We are new to this advanced technology, so I hope everybody is able to hear and enjoy the presentation that we have for you tonight. I wanted to let you know that tonight's presentation is for the entire community. And so I wish to welcome our parents and our staff, and possibly even there might even be a child or two here. Before we begin sharing our plans with you for the year, I want to take this time to, sorry guys, I'm admitting people as they come in. I want to take this time to recognize the members within our community that since this pandemic has started have gone just above and beyond in so many ways. It's really incredible. Sorry guys, keep admitting people here. It's kind of hard to keep up with. Our lead teachers, the moment that we heard that the pandemic was coming, our lead teachers got to work right away over the spring break. And honestly, they haven't stopped working since. And our assistant teachers, I really feel like they've been supporting our emotional needs personally as a director, and then I think that they've played a pivotal part in supporting their lead teachers. Our admin have also worked nonstop, around the clock, weekends, evenings, overtime, with pay, without pay. We just have an incredibly devoted group. And to our parents, because without you, we wouldn't have a school. And you all have been incredibly supportive. You've been understanding, and you've been very resourceful throughout all of this. It is a privilege and an honor to be a part of our community. And going through a situation like this, I can't imagine any other school that I would want to do this with. So we, I think by the very nature of our values, we attract a certain type of person, and that has been a benefit to us all through this. I also want to say about our assistants that they're really an incredible group, and even with limited amounts of work, they are still with us, those who are able to leave their children and come to work. So the purpose of tonight's presentation is to share with you our plans for the coming year. And one thing that we've all learned from this experience is that even with all of our planning and doing our best to make the plans thorough, they do change. And so throughout the year, I just ask that everybody continue to be understanding and flexible, because I am certain that there will be changes. That I know of. I just don't know what they are yet. And a few more people joining. Okay, so our mission this year, we're really focusing on being as simple as we can. So our mission is to stay healthy and well. My goal is that no one in our community contracts COVID-19. We also are committed to providing our students with an uninterrupted year of excellent education. The areas that we want to address with you tonight are our operations, the health and safety of our community, how we will, our teaching and learning, and then the tuition and finances. And for questions that I'm sure that you'll have, please post your questions in chat. We will address them at the end of the presentation, and if we run short on time, then we will contact you personally with an answer. And we are recording this webinar, this presentation, so we'll post the link in Bloom's for you to refer to at a later time. So let us get started. So first, what guides our decisions basically is data and recommendations and orders from our governor and other governing organizations. There's so much information out there, and we've tried to narrow where we look for information, and that mainly is coming from the CDC, from our child care licensing agency, from the Texas Education Agency, and monitoring conditions within our own school, and also within our local communities. So we do check the Houston and Fort Bend County, I'm missing a Y there, Health and Human Services. The reason I go there is really just to look at hospitalizations and ICU beds, because that gives us a better picture of illness in our community. The tests, you know, more people could test positive because we are doing more tests. Our hours of operation have needed to be adjusted in order for us to continue with the social distancing and not mixing groups. So until further notice, our school will open at 7:30 a.m. and close at 5:30 p.m. We recently sent a survey to everybody who was enrolled, and that was the time that was picked. We had another option, but this one was by far the most popular. We have developed 3 plans to ensure that we have an uninterrupted year of learning. Plan A is our current plan, and that includes the distance and on-site program. Plan B is a hybrid program, and Plan C is distance program with the option for childcare. And I'll explain each in a minute. The current plan, Plan A, our on-site program, we have 3 communities, the same, toddler, EC, and elementary. Each community is divided into smaller groups, and that's between 6 and 15 students, depending on the age of the child and the size of the room. Once children are in a group, these groups will not be mixed. The distance program is currently available to EC and elementary students. The distance program requires a minimum 4-week commitment. So our students who are currently enrolled in the distance program, starting September 14th, if you are comfortable coming back on site, you will have the option to do that starting September 14th. Plan B is a hybrid program. What would instigate this type of program is if government officials recommended group sizes be fewer than 10, or if the school recognizes a need to increase our mitigation strategies. If there's an outbreak in the school, or if let me not say outbreak, if there are a couple of cases in the school, then we may opt to go to the hybrid program. The hybrid program for our toddler and EC families, you would have the option of hybrid or childcare. The elementary students right now would only have the option for hybrid. I'll explain more later. The hybrid is 2 days on site and 3 days at home. We would organize groups, small pods, fewer than 10. Each pod would attend 2 days a week, either a Monday and Tuesday or Thursday and Friday. Wednesdays are reserved for deep cleaning the school and lesson planning. Lead guides would oversee the distance program. Childcare would be offered 5 days a week, and this is reserved especially for our parents who are considered essential workers. Space would be limited. Groups would be fewer than 10. Assistant guides would oversee the child care program. But the beauty also is that it would be within a Montessori classroom where there are materials and they can continue learning and using the materials that they're familiar with. I said that the hybrid program was only available for elementary. The reason we're not doing childcare right now with today's enrollment is because we only have 2 full-time on-site elementary students. If or when there is a need that meets our minimum number of 6, then we will provide childcare in the elementary building. Plan C is if stay-at-home orders are in place and schools are ordered to close. So if that happens, then basically the lower school becomes a childcare, and we would be open for only current students whose parents are essential workers. Those students who do not need childcare would be automatically moved into the distance program following the academic day schedule. Parents have the option between the two of on-site, childcare or distance program. Again, our groups would be very small. The elementary building would be closed and all students moved to the distance program. Lead guides oversee the distance program and assistant guides work with the children enrolled in childcare. Again, the same is true. If there's a need for childcare that meets the minimum of 6, then we will open that up for elementary. One of the big things that we learned over the summer is that it's easy to have a bottleneck at your entrance. And we really want to make sure that we are maintaining 6-foot distance coming into the school, and that we are able to go through our screening process. So we have a staggered arrival, and we implemented this in the summertime, and it really worked well. But it doesn't work well if you don't stick to your time. So we ask that you cooperate as much as you can by trying to stick to this schedule. So the school opens at 7:30, and from 7:30 to 8, we would like all of our full day students to come. From 8:10 to 8:20, we would like the academic toddlers to come. And from 8:20 to 8:30, the academic day EC and elementary students. After 8:45, we will not admit students into the school. We have never been this harsh before, and we don't really like to be this harsh now. But the fact of the matter is that those people who are doing the screening have to be inside the school. They are needed in the building. We have a very limited staff, and we're going to have to shut that down. The only exception would be if you call us before 8 a.m. and let us know if you're running late or if you have a doctor's appointment, something like that. We'll make an exception for you. Also at this time, and per minimum standards, parents are not allowed to come into the building. And I know this is hard to hear for parents of young students who are brand new to the school. You will be able to walk them to the entry, and we'll say our goodbyes there. You'll have to trust that they are in our hands after that, and that they are in very good hands. And new students always are contacted frequently by their teachers to let them know how they're settling in. The elementary arrival and screening will take place at the elementary playground gate, the one that faces the Montessori House for Children building. The Montessori House for Children screening will take place at the front door. Before I move to the next slide, I just want to see if there's, okay, I wanted to make sure there was nobody in the waiting room. We also will stagger the dismissal. Our academic day students, you know what, let me go back. I forgot something very important. So to begin the year, we are not doing the staff-assisted drive-through arrival. Parents, we ask you to park your car, walk to the front of the school, and get in line for screening. We will have markers on the ground to help you all remember how to stay 6 feet apart. For the dismissal, again, The drive-through, just to start, is closed. We ask that you park your car and walk to the gate to pick up your child. We'll dismiss toddlers at 2:20, the early childhood at 2:30, and elementary dismissal will follow the same routine as before. As last year, you will be able to use the staff-assisted drive-through lane. For our full-day students, it's only slightly different. Anytime that you come, just ring the buzzer and we will bring your child to you to the front door. And the next section is going to cover the health and safety of our school. And I would like to welcome and introduce Blanca, who will share this part. Also, I think it's a good time to let parents know that Blanca has gotten a promotion in the school. Yay! And she is now the assistant head of school. So Blanca, give it to you. Just unmute yourself, please.
Well, thank you, Barbara, for the introduction and for the trust that you have for me, Miss Pam and Barbara, and for this opportunity. And I'm going to talk to you about all the procedures that the school is implementing regarding the safety for the staff and your children. And with these, we're going to see, we're going to go over the three non-pharmaceutical interventions that are personal, environmental, and community. You're going to go next?
Yep.
Okay, one of the personal MPI is regarding the wearing of face mask and face shields. And this is all the adults that are in the building must wear a face mask during the time that they are inside the facility. Regarding toddlers and EC, because they are younger than 10 years old, they are not mandatory to wear a face mask, but the school is going to provide a face shield, like you will see, like the one in the picture, for every single child. And this face shield is going to be labeled with their child's name. That face shield has to stay in the classroom, and it will be sanitized at the end of the day, so it's ready and clean for the next day. The child can wear it upon arrival. The only times that we are letting the child not to wear the face shield is when they're eating or when they have activities outside. If the child is like in a toddler is not comfortable wearing the face shield, we are not forcing them, but we're really trying to encourage for the safety of everybody around us. Regarding the elementary children will have to wear a face mask that can be provided from home. And if you bring it from home, please label your child's face mask so to make sure that if they take it off for some reason, we get not confused. And also, the elementary children are gonna wear the face shield that will have their name, and it will be also sanitized. If your child forgets to bring their face mask in elementary, a disposable mask will be provided for them. Okay. One other thing that it's very important that we are really making an effort is that everybody do the hand washing several times a day. And we are trying to teach the children how to properly wash their hands, as this reduces, we know that this reduces the respiratory infections, and it destroys the virus completely. The hand sanitizer, it's only going to be used when we don't have soap and water available in that area. And it will be a hand sanitizer in every single area of the school, in the lobby, in the office, in every single classroom, in common areas. But we will try to make sure that the children and the staff washes their hands with soap and water first. And hand sanitizer, it will not be used in children younger than 2 years old. One of the other NPI categories is the environmental things that we are taking care of. And in the facility, we are really focusing on cleaning and sanitizing every area and everything that the children gets in touch with. We have a professional janitorial provider who cleans the school every day after school from Monday through Friday, but the teachers have a regular daily cleaning schedule that we implemented for each area of the school. And this is taken care of 3 times a day. Upon arrival, when the staff arrives, they have to clean and sanitize every single area in the classroom. Then at midday, and then at the end of the day. That's why we encourage parents not to send almost anything from home, limit the items that you are sending from home so we can reduce cross-contamination from anything. The things that we are sanitizing in the classroom is every single child has their own nap mat with their own linens. So they only use that mat for their whole week, and the linens are washed once a week, or if they are needed to wash them like every day for some reason, we can do that. Also in the classroom, we are taking care of all the items or all the materials that goes in the mouth in case of toddlers, and in early childhood, all the materials are just setting aside and there's being sanitized for the next child to be used or for the next day. Okay.
And the playground equipment.
The playground equipment is sanitized between groups, as we are not mixing groups, so they have time. We are also promoting social distancing, as Barbara said. That's why we are staggering our arrivals and our pickup times. One of the reasons that we have different groups, we are dividing them. Academic day is going to be in one group, and full day students going to be in another group. We are not mixing them, and the limit of the sizes of the group are limited. Like if toddlers will be 6 right now, and early childhood will be 12. Also, the way that we are using distance learning, social distancing, sorry, is that every single child has their own working table with their name on the table, so nobody can use that table anymore. And also they have their rug on the ground with their names, so they can use it for the entire day. And as Barbara already explained, the drop-off and the pickup will be staggered by communities and by programs. Every single member of the school, staff and children, or any visitors that we have to let them come in, they will be screened before arrival. And entry will be denied for any individual that has a temperature of 100 or greater, if they have at least one of the following symptoms, that is cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, headache, loss of taste, smell, extreme fatigue, or body ache. Or also entry will be denied if you or any person in your household or close to you have direct contact with somebody that has confirmed with COVID-19 or that has any symptoms of COVID-19, or they have traveled to any of the hotspot areas or countries that the infection can be transmitted very easy.
Did you want me to take over here?
Barbara.
So a lot of parents' questions have centered on what do you do when a child or a staff member becomes sick, or that we learn of somebody who is sick. So if your child is displaying any new or worsening symptoms mentioned just before, we ask that you keep your child home and notify the school. If a person displays any of the symptoms mentioned above while at school, then if it's a staff member, they will leave immediately and the area used will be disinfected. If it's a child, we will move them to an isolation room where we have a staff member who can be with them. Parents will be called and asked to pick them up immediately. We'll clean the area or areas that were used by the child as soon as possible, and we'll closely monitor students in the same group for possible symptoms. One thing that was missing on that is that we would let our parents know too, but I'll get to that again. Also, if a member of our school is confirmed positive for COVID, then the school, we will notify the health department and child care licensing. We will notify our staff and our families, and the area used by that person will be closed off. Students and staff will be moved, students or staff will be moved to a different room. We will open the doors and windows and wait 24 hours before we go in to disinfect and sanitize. During that time, we will be in communication with the health department, and once they're notified, we really just follow all of the recommendations that they give us. There isn't anything out there right now that says exactly what you do, except follow their instructions, and that's what we'll do. There are guidelines to return to school, and we'll get to those next. We also want to mention that if you or a person living in your home has had any direct contact with an individual who's positive for COVID, stay home and please notify the school. The criteria for returning, if in the case of a person who is diagnosed positive, the individual may return to school or work when all three of the following criteria are met. At least 3 days have passed since recovery, and that means without fever or reducing medication. And the individual has improved respiratory symptoms. And at least 10 days have passed since the symptoms first appeared. Or in the case of a person who has symptoms that could be COVID-19, but does not get evaluated by a professional or tested, we will assume that person has COVID-19. And the individual may not return to school until this person has completed the same 3-step criteria listed above, or if the person goes to, well, there's 2 things. Complete the 3 criteria above, or the 14-day isolation period, or you can obtain a medical professional's note clearing that individual for return based on alternative diagnoses. If, again, direct contact with a COVID positive individual, the person is not allowed to return to school or work until the end of the 14-day self-quarantine period from the last date of exposure. If a staff member believes that they have had contact to someone with COVID but are not currently sick, then we ask that you closely monitor your health for 14 days. I know this really kind of goes without saying, but I don't know, some people maybe aren't that careful. And if a parent believes that their child or they have had direct contact with someone with COVID-19 but are not currently sick, then again, we ask that you closely monitor symptoms during the 14 days after the last day they were in close contact. So the difference here would be whether the person was confirmed positive, or possibly it could just be a person with symptoms who doesn't get tested. Those are the 2 differences. So switching now back to leaving the health and safety and coming back to teaching and learning. This first section is with children who are on site. The classroom placement. Within each of our school's communities, we have always seen ourselves as a team of teachers. Our teachers collaborate together every single day. And this year, our students and our parents will learn to see us that way too. Our classroom placement has been modified to accommodate smaller groups with social distancing, and I expect changes to continue as the circumstances change. Our toddler community right now, next Monday, we will open with one class. That classroom will be the Toddler 2 community. We will have two groups that are separated, one of full day students and the other of academic day students. In the early childhood community, we'll have two classrooms open. EC1 will have full day students, EC2 academic day students. The toddler lead guides are working together in the Toddler 2 class in the morning, and the toddler assistants are rotating in the afternoon. Our EC guides are working on a rotational basis between on-site, distance program, and on-call. Our classrooms, and their rotational basis, our schedules are on a 5-week basis. The rotation schedules for the toddler assistants are not that well defined as of yet. The classrooms are, we still aim to balance our classrooms by age and gender. And by some miracle, that has happened pretty well, just by dividing the full day and the academic day students. And our assistants are working shorter hours right now and rotational schedules because our enrollment has changed. And we hope to bring them back soon to their normal schedules. The elementary community is also one classroom, and there are two groups, the lower and the upper elementary. They will have separate workspaces within the classroom. Both elementary guides are working on-site and seeing the distance learning program. And our students are assigned a primary reference guide for their lessons, for the planning of their lessons, and for the follow-up work, their accountability. Group sizes. Right now, there's two different terms here. There's a group size and a classroom capacity. The group size is smaller. The ratio for toddlers is 6. The group capacity for early childhood is 12, and elementary is 15. The reason elementary is more is because their space is much larger. If we have two groups in the same classroom, then the maximum capacity for toddler is 12, for EC is 20, and for elementary is 24. Again, when we have two groups, they are kept separate to the best of our ability, and we won't mix times. So for instance, if there's an outside play time or meal time, they will not be mixed for that. Speaking of outside, fresh air is our best friend, and especially during a pandemic. The more time we have outside, the cleaner our air, the fresher our air, the more space we have. It's just a perfect solution. So as much as possible, we are going to use our beautiful outside spaces for learning and for play. The distance program. Last spring, most of you in this webinar were here with us, and you know that the distance program was thrown together literally in a matter of days. Our teachers recognized over spring break that this was a possibility, and they got to work. And after spring break, our building closed, and we started the distance program that same day. That was an amazing accomplishment. And I still can't believe that we were able to pull it off. Our entire community of teachers, parents, and children did an outstanding job of putting it together, pulling it off, and sticking with it. I was really surprised to see how many people continued given the circumstances. Through our experience, we have learned a lot. we've learned that some things work really well. We've learned that some things really did not. We have learned that students, well, we've always known everybody is an individual and they're different and they have different needs. So throughout all of this, our primary focus still remains to meet the individual need of your child. That is very difficult to do in a distance program, but we're doing our very best. The program, if you're enrolled in the distance program, the one that you are going to start using, you'll notice that there were a lot of improvements, and we're really excited about what we have to share with you soon. The toddler distance program is not being used right now. The teachers worked all summer to put it together. It's ready. If we have to use it, it's there. The program would really focus on providing support and guidance for parents, helping them to incorporate Montessori principles into the home. It would include articles, videos, step-by-step instructions for daily routines, tips on setting up your child's learning space, and there would be short virtual lessons on a daily basis and one live community group lesson each week. And we would have weekly material packets for pickup. The EC and Early Childhood Distance Program, some of the feedback that we got back was that it was really hard to find information in the Bloom's app. So we're now using the Google Classroom platform, and we will use that with Zoom. The schedules are very structured now. I'm almost afraid that we might be a little bit ambitious, but if we are, then we'll have to scale back to meet the needs of our students and teachers. But right now, we have paid special attention to the amount of time our students are spending on screen, and we have adjusted that to better match their age and their developmental readiness. We have also incorporated hands-on activities to follow most lessons. We have increased the amount of time that we have giving small group and individual lessons. We have added an open Zoom work session to the schedule, so that is a time when the teachers are live, they're in the Zoom. If a student has a quick question or something they need help with, they're there for them. We also have, are working, it's not all worked out, but we are working on having the older students collaborate more. They love working together on projects. And during our trial week over the summer, that was a hit. They miss each other and they want to work together. So there are going to be more projects for them to do together. There will be daily and weekend check-ins. So that is for accountability. This is primarily for the elementary community, but the EC children, they love to share their work, and so they'll have the opportunity to do that on Fridays. And then the elementary students will have daily check-in times, and then also weekly check-ins where they go through their week plan, their weekly work plan with a fine-tooth comb, and also work to develop the next week's plan. Using Google platform is really nice because they can work collaboratively with their teacher, they can upload assignments, get feedback rather quickly. So it's really a nice tool. We will provide material packets. The EC packets will be available for pickup each Friday. Elementary available the first Friday of each month, or as needed if new students join. The specials for elementary, we don't have our outside providers doing this right now. We have incorporated specials into their distance program, and we are using the term passion projects. So it will include things that they enjoy, that they're passionate about. Student progress typically happens twice a year. Those who are in the distance program will have the opportunity to check in with their child's teacher once a week through request or sign up through the Bloom's app. And a lot more information will be shared with you if you're in the distance program during the orientation, which is happening today and then, tomorrow and Saturday. And now for parent resources and support that is sponsored through our PAV, our Parent Association of Volunteers. Our liaison for the PAV is Norma, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to you now, Norma.
Okay. Hi guys, how are you? I hope everybody is at home healthy and safe. I miss you very much. Well, we have a lot of parent resources and support through our Parent Association of Volunteers. We are made of parents, guardians, and administrators who function as the backbone of our volunteer force. We work as a volunteer body to organize the events and support our school. Our two main goals are to build community, which is very important, and support the MHFC annual campaign, which funds tuition assistance, community outreach, and supplement professional development. We provide a forum for parents to have a voice and be involved in the school, foster a warm and welcoming sense of community. All parents are invited and encouraged to participate. Our community is truly an essential resource we have these days. I invite you to participate. It's really, really fun. Next, please. Okay, talking about these resources, PAV is committed to helping you connect with others and enrich your child's experience at the school. We have PAV meetings, parent coffee, and meetups. The PAV meetings, we host them the first Tuesday of the month. Normally it's between 8:30 and 9:30. This time, the PAV meetings will be virtual, and I'll share with you the Zoom link through Blooms. And the first PAV meeting is going to be on Tuesday, September 1st. So I would like to see new faces, and please join us that day. Parent coffees are the second Thursday of the month from 8:30 to 9:30, and at the Elementary Handwork Studio. And also PAV meetings, we normally get together at the Elementary Handwork Studio, but as I mentioned, this time we'll try to do it virtual. We're gonna have a couple of guest speakers. The meetups are last Friday of the month from 5 to 7 p.m. Normally, we try to combine these meetups during the early release days. And we try to have fun and friendship, try to build community building. So the kids will be able to have so much fun. And last year we had great places that the kids really enjoy and the parents get together. It was a fantastic response from all of you. Thank you for all your participation.
Thank you, Norma.
Barbara, I want to finalize saying that we already have our current PAV members, and I want to mention that the president will be this year Sara Correa. Marina will be our vice president. Marina did a wonderful job last year as a president, but this year is going to help us being the vice president. And Minashi is our secretary this year. Thank you. But there is one position available, the treasurer. If you are interested, just let me know.
Excellent. I'm glad you got that in. Yeah,
there's always room to participate.
Thanks to our parent officers, PAV officers also.
Yes,
Um,
thank you.
The next piece we want to cover is the tuition and finances. So I would like to introduce our founder, Pam Nelson.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pam. My office is in the elementary building with Janice Poe and with Margie El Musa. I'm chiefly in charge of arranging for the revenues to come into the school through tuition and to pay all of our bills. Both MHFC and the elementary school are 100% supported by tuition. We did our budgets for both schools in January of every year. We do it in January, which was before COVID-19. And of course, none of the expenses associated with COVID-19 could have possibly been imagined at that time. Since February and March and April, the pandemic has shrunk our already slim margins to a point that all expenses in our budget have been scrutinized to control costs. So we have a budget on a diet. Both schools are prepared to outlast this pandemic and meet our goals of educating every student for the full school year. It mentioned in an earlier slide, our school's manpower costs are tied to enrollment, and our staff will be brought back as our enrollment grows. And it was mentioned earlier that they are on rotation before that time or during that time. Okay, next slide. I mentioned that we didn't anticipate any of the costs for a pandemic, but you can imagine from listening to the first part of this presentation that we have to have more staff for screening, for sanitation. We've had to expand our janitorial service and the products that they use for sanitation and disinfection. We've had to buy lots of PPE equipment for children and teachers. And because we have lower teacher-child ratios, we have to manage our costs with that new diet. Additional costs also have been accrued for continuing the quality of our education to support a dual programs at the same time. To run both a distance learning and an on-site simultaneously is quite an achievement, and it takes added technology, it takes added manpower and preparation. The curriculum packets that are going to go home every week, all of this is extra time and planning. And we also have the fixed cost of maintaining physical buildings. We always want to have our buildings to come back to when everyone's ready to come back to school and have all of our classrooms ready. So we have to keep paying our mortgage, insurance, utilities, and all of those other things that go with owning two big buildings. We also are very much helped by our management programs, Bloom's, ProCare, Tuition Express, MRX, and those are programs that we have to subscribe to in order to run the school, especially when we're running two separate programs at the same time. If there are mandated school closings, how will this affect tuition? Elementary students will switch to the academic day distance program and tuition will not be reduced. MHFC children will switch to the academic day distance program, and they will be given credits, weekly credits, as follows on your screen. For the toddler program, 150 per week, and for the early childhood program, $50 per week. Some of you may not know that we do have, as part of our nonprofit organization, we have the MEFI collects funds, and part of those funds are allocated to tuition assistance. Students must have been in attendance for at least 1 year to be eligible for tuition assistance. But I can tell you that with the families that have had hardships, temporary or long-term, sometimes a little help from the tuition assistance is all they need to stay with the program that they love. And we have had, every year we have been able to meet several families' tuition assistance needs so that they can continue coming to school. So if your family is faced with a temporary hardship, we want you to know there is a tuition assistance application form, and that our funding is all dependent on our fundraising that's accomplished during the year. So if everybody in the community participates in our fundraising, we will have more funds available to help families in the future.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
So what is happening next? Even though we're coming to the end of the week, it still looks pretty darn busy. So this is something that hopefully you have seen before. This is just a schedule of the webinar, the orientations that are going to start tomorrow and then go in through Saturday. Your teachers have already shared with you the link to the Zoom meeting, and we will also post that to Bloom's tomorrow, just in case you can't find that email. And now we have a few minutes left, and I certainly don't want, we have a few minutes left, and I want to give everybody time to answer their question. But again, if we don't have time to get to your question, then we will personally get back with you. And for questions, I was going to turn it over to Janet, but I don't see her here. Hold on one second. Let me scroll down and see where she might be.
I'm here.
Oh, I just can't see your face. Well, hi, Janet. So,
Hi.
Janet Poe is our admissions director, and she works in the same office with Pam. And Janet, do we have any questions?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
One of the questions that we had is about the distance program. When is the time for the first pickup material? So will be tomorrow, and at what time?
So our early childhood, it's anytime after, well, I shouldn't say anytime, between 12 and 3. And elementary is between 4 and 5. So the teachers in the elementary, they divided it. I think the lower L is 4 to 4:30 and the upper L is 4:30 to 5. I could be wrong. It could be the reverse, but it's basically between 4 and 5.
Okay. For elementary kids, both masks and face shields are required?
For the elementary students, and I know that a number of parents asked me whether or not masks would be required. And this question was asked early in the summer. And at that time I said no. However, we have decided that it would be best for our elementary students to wear masks. Of course, if they're running and playing outside, it won't be necessary unless they're not maintaining an appropriate social distance and when they're eating and drinking. But all other times, for the health and safety of our entire community, we do want them to wear their mask. If a face shield is more comfortable for them, we will provide that.
Okay. And another person asked if they can, the students can wearing their own personal face masks.
Absolutely.
Okay. Another person asking, will this slide be shared on Blues or sent to the community?
Yes, it is being recorded and the link will be provided.
Okay. Let me see another question that I saw here. I understand there is a commitment to stay in the distance learning program for 4 weeks. Can we go from one-side program to distance learning program voluntary at any time?
I believe at this time we are open to that. I've thought about what would happen if somebody does have some symptoms and needs to stay home or is self-quarantined. So we are going to do our best to meet that demand.
Okay. Will you be planting citronella on the toddler playground as mosquitoes are really bad there? I will be happy to donate the plants.
That's a great idea. We'll accept the donation.
Can I say that I just got word from Lakemont today that the mosquito trucks were out a day ago?
Okay. Yeah, when we do notice that there's a lot more mosquitoes, then we call Lakemont and we request that they do it more frequently.
Okay. I had another question, say, are specials going to be offered for on-site students or only for long distance?
Yes, the specials are incorporated into the curriculum for both.
Okay.
The only difference is it's going to be, our teachers are going to be doing that. So we don't have our outside providers coming in.
Okay, another question is, we are enrolling the lunch service. Any update on sanitizing the items from that company?
On sanitizing the items,
Yes.
well, I know that all the food is coming individually in individual containers. What their sanitization process is, whoever has that question, you can contact them directly and ask them. I have not had any information about that.
Okay. One person from the community, from Tolders community, they want to know if, they say, they told us Tolder 1 will be open. That's not the case anymore?
No, like I said at the beginning, our best plans change, and all this week we have been going back and forth with what's the best way to open our toddler community. And when I say back and forth, it's literally back and forth. Teachers have been running back and forth between the classrooms, rearranging the furniture, trying to make 2 different separate groups without a shared space. And finally, today we decided that to begin the year, we will have both groups in one classroom. And the Toddler 1 classroom will be available if we need to move our students into another space. So I do apologize. Actually, I can't say I apologize. I regret that changes happen, but I think that this year, that's just what we're all going to have to get comfortable with.
Okay. We had one person say, yeah, a group of parents are interested in mandatory mask shields for EC. Is it possible to group them in a path based on parent survey?
Would you read that again?
Okay. Yeah, a group of parents are interested in mandatory masks or shields for EC. Is it possible to group them in a path based on parent surveys?
I'm sorry, it's the last part of the question I'm not getting. Put that one to the side and we'll get back personally with that parent's question.
Okay.
We have a time check here. We have about a minute left. Is there one more question that you think?
Yes, will be breakfast still be an option for the students who arrive prior to 8 a.m.?
Yes. The school is paying for the catering company to provide lunch, breakfast and snack. At 8, breakfast is served up until 8 a.m.
Okay. I think the other questions we need to follow up tomorrow probably.
Okay. Yes. So please, thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to watch this. We are super excited to get back and to have our children with us. There is nothing that brings us more joy than seeing your children's faces. And as promised, also, we'll post the link tomorrow, and we'll begin addressing any other questions personally, and do our best to communicate with you throughout the year so that you're well informed and that we're all well informed and stay healthy. Thank you all. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Janet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Norma.
Thanks, everyone. I'm leaving the meeting. Thank you all. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm looking forward to see each one of you on Monday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.